Sir David the Bard, I'm sure I'm being recorded. I'm sitting over in the Bountiful City Police Department, and I'm trying to talk with somebody about the alleged trespass law here in the state of Utah. The police chief is not in, so I guess I'll be talking to a lieutenant. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything, and I'm going to probably have to go over to the city attorney and to the mayor. But you got to start at the bottom. In Utah, the law is you have to try to resolve things at the lowest level before you're allowed to go into a higher level. The lieutenant's going to come out, and I'm going to talk to him about the trespass enforcement here in Utah. The code does not spell out how the trespass law works within each individual town, and when the trespass was filed against me, I had to give my name, my address, and my phone number, which is a now public disclosure. Last night my car was vandalized over $5,000 to $7,000 because someone had access to that information. But when the police chief asked me who's my #1 suspect, it's the state president who put the trespass order against me, and guess what? No name, no address, no phone number. So I'm here to try to persuade and bring to the attention of the city that if someone can anonymously complain against you, I'm not sure that that meets constitutional rights. There's another word there, but you know me, I can't find the words all the time. Scrutiny. There's a legal term, scrutiny. The Constitution guarantees that you can confront your accusers, and how do you confront an anonymous person? So anyway, I'm doing a video here. Let's see what the lieutenant says. I'm sure he's going to tell me come back and talk to the chief of police, and I'm sure he's going to tell me to go see the city attorney, then they're going to tell me to go see the mayor. They're going to try to wear me down and wear me out. But I don't think that the form being one-sided meets the constitutional scrutiny of being able to have due process and to be able to have confronting my accusers. How can I confront my accuser when I don't know who it is? It's anonymous. So anyway, let's just be fair. That's all. Let's just be fair. See what you're looking for. You can't do shit. All right, well, Alpha and Omega, they're fired again. I love to fire them every day because they're so incompetent. They didn't even show up today to work. So anyway, I'm waiting, and let's see what the lieutenant has to say. It's 9:29 a.m. Is today the 17th?
Yes.
Thank you very much. September 17th.
Yep. Can we check to see if he's got anything on him? Thanks so much.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Well, how are you?
I'm David Crosstep. It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
You're the lieutenant, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have some concern.
Whose is this?
That's mine.
Is it on?
Yes.
You're videotaping this?
No, me.
Oh, you're videotaping you?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because I'm handicapped and I can't remember what I said, and sometimes
Okay.
to document meetings, that I make sure I say what's appropriate and
Okay.
act appropriately.
So what's going on?
Well, I'm trying to make a long story short, I guess. The form that your department uses for trespass, I read the code. Okay, the code is not specific in the mechanics of trespass orders or whatever. It defines trespass well, and I guess it leaves it up to the municipalities or the state or whoever to enforce it the way they think it should be enforced. Here's my problem. Okay, I had a trespass from the Mormon church down in Midtown, and I had to give my name, my number, and my telephone number, which is now public. And when you guys came over this morning, because someone vandalized my car to the tune of $7,000 last night, and they said, "Who's the suspect?" And I said, "The suspect is the person who got the no trespass order against me." "Well, who is that?" "I don't know." Now, here's my concerns, okay? Number one, the Constitution of the United States clearly indicates that I have a right to confront my accusers.
Okay, well, back up just one
Okay.
second. Are you saying that you were given a trespass order, but you don't know who made the
Exactly
request?
what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying.
When were you issued this trespass notice?
I'm sorry, say it
When were
again.
you issued the trespass notice?
Who issued it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
When did you issue it? When did you?
No, I didn't issue it. It was issued against me.
Okay, yeah. So when did you receive it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Last Sunday.
Okay, and you were handed a copy
Yes,
of it?
by one of your officers. Very
Okay.
kind, very...
And it didn't have the complainant's name
No,
on it?
sir. I have it right in the car if you'd like to see it.
Okay. Is that all you want to know, is who issued the trespass notice?
No. That's a piece of what I'd like to know.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to understand is that the procedure that you use, that people don't know who accused them. They only have the address of the property. That form does not indicate anywhere the accuser. They're anonymous.
Okay. Well, no, you can, typically the person requesting the trespass is listed on the form as to why they weren't, the officer didn't add that information. If what you're saying is true, then that's not normal.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, and anybody who's responsible for a piece of property can
Absolutely.
trespass from that property.
But they have to be responsible if they involve law enforcement to at least identify themselves, don't they?
Well, of course,
Okay.
we're going to identify.
Then this whole thing is moot. If this was an aberration and the officer forgot it or whatever, I'm not going to accuse him of anything. I'm just in here to say that form disclosed all of my private information. I don't even have the name of the person who anonymously, but you're saying it shouldn't be anonymous. You're saying that whoever said that about me has to take responsibility on that form.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. That's totally legal and I have no complaint.
Yeah. Now, if it was done on behalf of, if it's an LDS church and it's done on behalf of the, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, then, that's an entity that we're acting on their behalf because we've been asked to issue a trespass.
Okay.
So.
But they must list their name or address or who official.
I'm sure that in the report, the crime report that was written when this trespass was issued.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that the officer listed the complainant in the report.
That's totally fair. I've ordered a copy of the report, and if it's there, I got no complaint, none whatsoever. I just want it not to be one-sided. That my private information went out, now it's public record, and I'm contemplating legal action. I don't want to list him as Doe number 1. He has a name. Now, the officer and the officer gave me a clear understanding, and I hope, and I'm trying to find out from you whether it's true. That stake president has authority over that piece of property. He is acting for on behalf of the corporation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For this to be global, that would have to come from the main corporation, not just one of its agents. Am I right on this or not?
I don't know. You would have to ask church headquarters, for lack of a better term, to find out what authority they give their state presidents as far as issuing these types of trespass notices.
Well, okay. But
Were you trespassed from just the one property, though?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so then why are you worried about it being global?
Because the officer and I spoke. I'm sure I'm going to get a letter here in the next 30 days from their attorneys in Salt Lake City that said it's global. It goes everywhere. And I have video footage that I was parked legally, and I never went on anybody's property at any time. My windows were rolled up and sealed. And I have video cameras running in the car that show I was clearly in a public street. I wasn't anywhere on that church property, and he told the officer I was. Now let me ask you this. Is that a false police report?
Well, without knowing all the facts,
okay, well,
like
hypothetically.
it's false. If someone reports something that is false, then yes. And they know that what they're saying is false, then yes.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I have no complaints at all.
Okay.
So if I have a video camera that shows where I was parked and the person said no, he was in our parking lot, then I can take that evidence to court and let's see what the judge says. But what you're telling me is that under the code, for someone to say something to a policeman that causes paperwork, and it's not true, and they know it's not true, that is a false police report.
We could make charges for making a false police report and then let our prosecutor determine what he's going to do with that.
Okay, now does the prosecutor determine the extent of a misdemeanor A, B, or felony, or whatever? Is that decision made with the prosecutor?
In part, yeah. I mean, it's outlined in the code, but the prosecuting attorney has some latitude as to if it meets the elements of a more serious offense. He has the ability to say, well, I'm not going to charge him with the more serious, I'll charge him with the less serious offense.
Okay.
So he's definitely has that prerogative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and giving me your time. You've been very courteous and very informative, and I'll get the police report, and if the name is there and it was just an omission, everyone makes an omission now. But you're saying the policy is that piece of paper should show who made the complaint.
No, I didn't say it was the policy, but it is the, typically we do include everybody's information. All the fields are filled out on that form. Usually.
None of those fields ask for the anonymous person.
What's that?
None of the fields on the paper that I got,
okay,
nothing about the accusing anonymous party.
Okay.
Nothing. And the only reason I knew it was the stake president is the officer told me.
Okay.
It's the stake president.
Okay.
So the form itself doesn't ask that. Is there a possibility we should change that form?
No, because the code doesn't require us to even have a form. The code doesn't require for the police to issue the trespass notice.
Right.
We do that as a service to whether it's the citizens or entities in our city, so that there's an actual paper trail that says, yes, this is the form that I gave to
David
John Doe, you know, whoever. But those people, whoever was involved in making the request, things like that, are definitely in the report. But as far as the form and having to change it, no, because there really is no requirement for us to even fill out a form. As a matter of fact, anybody who's responsible for the property or the owner of the property can just say to you verbally, you are not allowed to come back here for the next, you know, whatever, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years.
Yeah, or dismissed forever. Now, then let me ask you, I guess, from what you're saying, the piece of paper that was given to me by the officer has no information of the accuser on it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I think I hear you saying that I can come in and get a police report, and that must be on the police report.
It'll be on the police report, sure.
Okay, so an average citizen that doesn't know they could get a report and just handed that piece of paper doesn't really know how to get a hold of the name of that person. They can get it if they have enough intelligence to come in and ask for the complete report.
I think the average reasonable citizen knows that they can obtain copies of police reports from their local law enforcement agency, don't you?
No.
You don't think that?
No, I don't.
My experience is different. I think
Okay.
that most people know that, yeah, they can obtain records and especially things that they're involved in, for sure.
No. You know, if someone had put at the bottom of that form, please note you're able to get a full police report on this period, that to me would be a little more fair, because not everybody has enough intelligence, and usually your officer said, and maybe you can confirm this, that most people don't even need that information. They don't ask for it. He said in his experience, and you get a no trespass, most people are scared of the police, and the police are the ones that hand it to you. You don't know where you can go or what you can do.
But see, also another point is that in these types of situations, most people, at the time that the trespass is issued, there's a discussion. So at some point, just like in your situation, there was a discussion about who was issuing the trespass, right?
Me and the officer.
Yes.
And he said the state president, but
Right.
gave me no details.
Okay. But you were informed that there was somebody who was responsible for the property who...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think you've answered all the questions.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
I was very concerned with the other officer that I talked to yesterday, I guess. He said that if the accuser says I've come back and I've trespassed, and he can get 12 witnesses or more or less to say, yeah, he was up on the property here, when indeed I wasn't on the property, never have been, never. Did they think I wanted to go to sacrament meeting? I don't think so. So he said just on the word of the accuser in a preliminary investigation, even though the officer didn't see it or there's no pictures, that I'd be arrested.
Well, an arrest can be more than a physical arrest. An arrest can be a citation.
So he can, again, hypothetically, he could lie and have 10 members coming out of the sacrament meeting and say, yeah, he was up here. And that's enough for a citation.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it'd be no different than, you know, someone else, you know, making hypothetically an accusation against you that, you know, you struck me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's my word against yours.
Right.
The officer did not witness it, therefore, and it's a misdemeanor offense. Therefore, he could issue you a citation based upon my statement to him. That's the law. That's law across the land as far as the way that works. We don't have to, I mean, otherwise we would never be able to enforce many of the crimes that occur that don't occur in our presence. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It appears that this can be used, you know, punitively and intimidation, and it has a taste of citizens not knowing exactly what their rights are. I wasn't sure I could get a police report, and I've got 2 master's degrees, so I'm not really a stupid person. One of them, well, the undergraduate was from BYU. If there was a little sentence at the bottom of that page, it said, you can get the full police report, period. I think that would be helpful to most people and take some of the intimidation out of it, so at least you know what they're saying. Now, I have a right, if I understand your code and the way this works, when I get his name and his address, I can ask for a citation or ask for a no trespass against him, that he can't come to my home. Yes or no?
You could ask for that, sure.
Okay.
I don't know what good it would do. Has he ever gone to your home?
Well, who vandalized that car last night? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But, you know, when you come out in the morning and your car's got $7,000 damage and it's a brand new, well, not brand new, a new car, expensive car, that would make me a little suspicious if I was a police officer that there may be something between these two people and the other one needs to be protected too.
But are you also aware that there are a lot of people, and I haven't seen your car, I've just been told about this.
It's right there.
I guess some of the signs that are on it, is it?
Free speech.
Well, I understand free speech and everything, but the message that's on there is anti-Mormon message. Is that nothing like that?
No.
Nothing?
And there's not one, well, you can look for yourselves. No reason to believe me. There's not one thing on there I say about Mormonism.
Okay. Well, apparently there are, from what I've been told, like, again, I haven't read it, I haven't seen your car or anything like that. I'm being informed that there are quite a few people, a number of people in the community that are unhappy with what is on your car. Okay. And while, you know, it's, you know, like you say, you know, it's a free speech thing. The point I'm making is that there's more than one suspect, I would suppose, involved in this, because we've received some calls apparently about, you know, whatever the message is on your car.
When people call, do they have to identify themselves?
No.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, they can just call and anonymously and say, hey, we don't like this. And, you know, for the most part, something like that, as far as a sign on your car, would fall under free speech. You know, there may be some things, like I said, I haven't seen your car, so I don't know if how it's placed and things like that is legal. I'm not going to get into that today. But what I'm getting at is that there could be more than one suspect in this.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
But wouldn't the suspect that took action against you just within a day or two, 24 hours, wouldn't that be a little more of a suspect?
Sure. But what I'm saying is that
without clear evidence, it could have been anybody.
Exactly, and I'm just making the point that because we know we've received phone calls inquiring about this, people not being happy about it, obviously there's more than one person who doesn't like what's on your car. So, not that what they did was right or okay or anything like that, it's just more than one person's unhappy with your message, apparently. You know what I mean?
I'm not really looking for friends.
That's not my point.
And I haven't lost any.
Yeah, that's not my point. I'm just saying, as far as this case of criminal mischief, the damage done to your car, while, like what you're saying, there may be more focus on someone who we've dealt with you in the last few days, there could be more than that person involved in.
But that person wasn't involved with me. They just made an anonymous report. There's been no communication with anybody. I told you I rolled my windows up. I don't get out of there because if people start gathering and screaming, then I can be a public nuisance, or I can cross over into other areas. I have right on my car, you know, I don't talk to anybody. I just sit there. I think that's legal. If I'm publicly parked, the car is registered and has insurance and whatever, and I'm not, you know, doing anything else that's illegal, I think free speech just allows me to sit in the public, and I think your law is I can sit there 24 hours, then I have to move. And in the wintertime, starting I think at 11 o'clock, I can't stay 24 because you're plowing back on at 7 a.m. So all I'm trying to do is, you've answered my question. When I get the police report, I will know who made this accusation. That's fair.
Okay.
No complaint.
All right. Is that all that you needed?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
You already made your request to records?
Yes, they said that they would call me when it's ready.
Yeah.
And
okay.
And that's fair. I'm just suggesting, that's all, on the bottom of that paper, let citizens know that they can get the person's name and information that because that's public information now. It's got a case number, right? And a record you can go into.
Yeah, but see, like I said, my point is that we don't even have to give that form. That's not required by law. So if I were to give that same trespass order to you verbally,
you don't have to tell me who said it.
I don't have to tell you, oh, and by the way, you can go get a copy of the police report. There's no requirement for that. Because a citizen has it's their responsibility to know what their rights are. It's not my responsibility to inform them under these circumstances what they are entitled to, you know?
So there's no Amanda rights in this situation.
No, right, and that's what I'm talking about, barring Miranda, and that's an arrest situation, a custody situation.
Well, this is not criminal unless I go back on it,
right,
and then I'm arrested.
Yes, so but my point is that we as citizens have responsibilities to know and understand our rights. It's not the responsibility of the government or its stewards, if you will, to educate you on what your rights are. It really isn't. It is your responsibility to know what your rights are. So for someone to insist that, you know, well, on all of our forms, we need to be putting this information on here saying you can go get a copy of the report, it's not something that we're required to do. It's the responsibility of the citizen to know their own rights, including the ability to go and request a copy of the report.
So if you're parked in a public place and someone lies that you went up on their property, basically then I have to go look at the code and I have to understand the code, and then I have to come over here and say, can I get a copy of the police report? Those are all my responsibilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or hire someone, i.e. an attorney, to represent you in doing those things. So, you know, but it all comes back to the individual and being responsible as a citizen, and knowing what they have rights to and what they don't. You know what I mean?
Well, I do understand what you're saying. It's like speeding. People should have a general knowledge of their rights and responsibility of speeding. But when you're sitting in a public place and a policeman, I moved, I wasn't there when the policeman came and said, you know, you have a trespass order against you. Would you think that most citizens understand that? They know what their rights and obligations are? That doesn't happen to very many people, does it?
But it's their responsibility. Again, it's not the government's responsibility to educate each citizen as to what their rights are or what even the laws are. You know, we do our best to explain, okay, you know, the accusation is you went on this property, the property owner no longer wants you coming there, therefore I'm issuing you this trespass notice, and you cannot be on the property for this period of time. If you return, then, you know, we'll have to take some type of criminal action against you. So that's our responsibility to explain what's going on, but to, you know, whether it's going through the code and explaining the code line by line to a person so that they have
I'm just suggesting 6 words, you can get a copy of this report, that's all. And it's only a suggestion, that's all.
But again, if, you know, but I think that you start getting into at what point does the notice stop, you know?
I think there's some common sense.
But see, and then I guess I just see it differently than that there's common sense in knowing that, you know, if the government takes some type of action against me, I can find out all the details about that action. You know? And if
the officer was very clear to me. He said, you don't have to talk to me. And I said, I know, I don't have to talk to you. I'm willing to talk, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't know that this is not a criminal situation. When a police officer walks up to me and hands me a piece of paper, he clearly said this is not criminal. But what is it? A warning, I guess? An official warning from a government?
Well, I don't think it's a warning. It's a notice. You've been given notice to not return to the property. And so now, and I think that's more than fair because, you know, and there are situations where a trespass occurs where you don't have to be given notice in person.
Right.
You know, you can't come here. There are some things that are just, you know, obvious.
So outrageous.
Yeah.
You can
I walk into your home without permission. That's a trespass. I didn't need to be told because, common sense is, I don't walk into other people's homes, that is their home. So, but anyway, what we're talking about here, it's a fair notice that's given, which is all that it is. It's like, hey, here's a notice not to return. If you do return after being given this notice, then it's a crime.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, you've been very helpful, and I understand when I picked up with the report, it'll appear that the paper I got was an aberration. It had no name, no address, had no lines asking for the opposing party or the anonymous person. So if I'm able to get it, that's fair. That's fair. So
yeah.
I just wanted to check. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you, officer.
All right. Okay.
Appreciate it very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.